Hello there everybody and welcome back to Movie Squirm. Today I'm going to be reviewing the 2023 film Pet Sematary Bloodlines, and this is directed by Lindsay Beer and stars Jackson White and David Duchovny. This tells the story of Jug Crandall in 1969 who discovers a dark secret when an old friend comes back from the war and seems to be acting very strange. Yeah, well, I don't think anyone actually seen this one coming, did they? It was only announced a few months ago that we were getting a new Pet Sematary film, and here it is. And this is actually a prequel to the remake. Now, I'm a fan of the original, but with the remake, I was kind of disappointed when I seen it at the cinema. However, I rewatched it leading up to this review and was quite impressed. It was one of them movies that was definitely better on rewatch for me, and I love it when that happens. So I went into this one with a little bit of an open mind, and I've got to be honest, I was quite looking forward to. So what did I think of Pet Sematary Bloodlines? Let's find out. But first off, I'm just going to say it now, this is a very vanilla film. It takes a story that we already kind of know the outcome of and plays that for the 90-minute runtime. Don't get me wrong, there are some things to like here. This is a very watchable movie. I was having a good enough time with it. And visually, it's very pleasing. It was nicely shot, nicely directed, and Lindsay Beer is an upcoming director, basically. This is her first film, and I think she has a lot of talent behind the camera, and I'm quite looking forward to see what she can do going forward. Now, if you guys remember, Jug Crandall in the original Pet Sematary told the story of Timmy Bateman, the war veteran who came home, and his father had to bury him in the Pet Sematary. Now, I know this isn't connected to the original, but basically this is the same story and it's just happening in the remake world of Pet Sematary. And the townsfolk don't take too kindly to that because he actually comes back from the cemetery and starts to wreak havoc on his father's house. And is just a totally different person with a much more sinister side to him. And Jack Mulhern, who plays Timmy Bateman in this movie, is definitely the standout character of the film and probably the biggest positive for Pet Sematary Bloodlines. All the interesting stuff happens when he is on screen, and it kind of just grabs your attention. You can't quite take your eyes off him because, of course, he has been buried at this cemetery and he's come back a totally different person, and he's just making characters feel awkward, talking down to other characters. He's just a very mean-spirited individual who seems to go off the rails a little bit more as the movie progresses. He just made me feel uneasy. I liked how he provoked characters, and he wants nothing but trouble for the town, which he soon brings. Like I said, as the movie goes on, things get a little bit more out of control. Jackson White was also pretty good in the role of Judge Crandall. He does a job here, but that's the problem, really. He just does a job. And that's the same with all the characters in this movie, bar Jack Mulhern. There's not much more of them to work with, and like the story, they're just very straightforward and narrow linear characters. I mean, there's just hardly any character arc for Judd or any of the other characters, really. I mean, he wants to leave town, something keeps him there, and he's got to deal with it. Something quite simple that we've seen in many, many movies before. Even David Duchovny, who I like a lot when I see him in films, is just giving nothing here. He's just there. However, I did like the movie's attempt to explain some of the more origins of Pet Sematary. Even though this is a prequel, you go back years before on this little side story here. Just for about 5 or 10 minutes, but I appreciated that. At least it tried to do something different in that moment, and that was a more interesting part of the story there, learning the origins on how this cemetery came about. But it's really hard to talk about more aspects of this movie because, like I said, it's just a very straightforward film. I mean, it just doesn't really offer much in originality or freshness. It's just put out there on streaming, on Paramount Plus, and it just feels like a much of a nothing movie, I'm afraid. I mean, we already know the outcome of this tale. I mean, it's not like they throw some fresh ideas in there along the way that we didn't know of. I mean, you could have done the Timmy Bateman story, that's fine, but then throw another few things in there from left field, you know, shake the story up a little bit. But no, it's just basically that story, and we already know how it ends. We already know how it ends for Jug Crandall. So for me, it just felt like there was no point. It's just a nothing movie. I mean, did we really need a 90-minute version of Jud Crandall's story that took 5 minutes in the original film? I don't think so. And why that works in that movie is because it's a 5-minute subplot and there's so many other things going on. Okay, we see a family move to this town and discover the cemetery, but we've got stuff like the Zelda thing thrown in there, and then we turn it up into a slasher movie in the third act, and then we've got all this stuff going on with the Timmy Bateman and everything. We've got character depth. None of that is in here. You know, that movie has got so many things going on for it. But even the remake of Pet Sematary has got a lot of things going on for it. But here, it's just the Timmy Bateman story. There's nothing fresh or anything thrown in. There's nothing around the story, is what I'm trying to say. It just feels like they put this movie out there because it got Stephen King in the title and Pet Sematary, which is a popular Stephen King novel, a popular Stephen King work. And the opening scenes of the movie do move very, very quickly. I mean, I kind of scratch my head and have to put it all together there, just piece the puzzle. Okay, I got there. It's not the most confusing thing ever, but I think newcomers of the franchise might be thinking, what's happening right there? I mean, why is he like that now? They could have just explained it a little bit better and took an extra minute or two. Like I said, this is a watchable movie, but that's it, nothing more. It's a normal film, and it might just be the most normal film of the year. The third act does shake it up a little bit there, like most third acts do, but it might be the most bland third act of any movie this year that attempts to elevate the two acts before it. I would go back to this movie again and maybe I'll change my mind a little bit, but that's only because it's in this universe of Pet Sematary, really. I'm just going to go ahead and rate this movie now. I'm going to give Pet Sematary Bloodlines a 5.5 out of 10. If you're a Pet Sematary fan or a Stephen King fan, probably worth giving this a go just to get your own thoughts, really. But if you're not a fan of this franchise at all, I would definitely give this one a miss. Okay, guys, at the end of these reviews, I always like to leave a little fun fact. Now, a fun fact for Pet Sematary Bloodlines is that a character called Donna actually wields a scalpel at one point, which is a throwback to when Gage did it in the original Pet Sematary. Yeah, even the fun facts are a little bit vanilla. Okay, guys, hope you all enjoyed this review. Please give this video a like and subscribe if horror is your sort of thing. If you want to see my Pet Sematary review from 1989, that will be in the link down below. And I do have a ranking of all 4 Pet Sematary films coming after this video as well. So thanks so much, guys. You all take care, and I'll see you on the next video.